cold winter day in 1928 London, and a man by the name of Alexander Fleming stood in his tower lab, disinfecting petri dishes. A seemingly inconsequential act which led to a breakthrough renowned all across the world by the 1940s. He had a petri dish with staphylococcal bacteria in his hand, open for sanitizing, when he noticed the mold growing in it. This was certainly not unusual, but what happened to the bacteria was intriguing. Even before the bacteria had been yellowish-orange, it was now translucent and dead. This was extremely atypical, and he said, quote, "That's funny." He'd worked for years at St. Mary's Medical School by then, and he had been inspired to try and find an antiseptic to cure the infections caught in wounds, which he had seen countless times in his makeshift lab in France during the First World War. As a child, everyone has a dream of what they aspire to be when they grow up. But Fleming's entrance into the medical field was not the result of a childhood goal or a fervent passion for it. It was simply the result of an inheritance. A large amount of money with which Fleming had no idea what to do with until his brother suggested medical school. During the time of World War I, Fleming and many of the other bacteriologists working at St. Mary's were sent to set up a makeshift lab in the bloody midst of the battlefield in France. While there, Fleming saw friends and colleagues that he had known for years being killed in the crossfire while trying to assist. He saw thousands of soldiers killed from infections, yet they were simple infections nonetheless, which could have been cured with a simple antiseptic. It was there that he was inspired to find a chemical to cure these infections, so many of the soldiers wouldn't have to needlessly perish. It was years after the war in the winter when Fleming stumbled upon something great. He found a type of mold which killed the staphylococcal bacteria around it, leaving a halo-like effect. He purified the mold, which he determined to be of the penicillium family, and he named the substance penicillin. He ran tests on it to test its potency, and he found that even when the substance was diluted 800 times, it still killed the bacteria completely. Almost a year later, Fleming tried to get his discovery noticed by the medical public. He had a paper published on it that year, but no one paid him any attention, and soon afterward, he gave up. It was incredibly difficult to purify and cultivate the mold to its medicinal form without extensive help from chemists, and he did have help. But they all moved on to different projects they deemed of more importance. Even the dream Fleming had started of a perfect drug was unfinished. After Fleming's abandonment of the task, a band of scientists and chemists at Oxford University got their hands on a specimen of the mold, led by Ernst Chain and Howard Florey. After a lot of work, they were able to cultivate and purify it properly. And by the end of the 1930s, it was being manufactured in bulk by pharmaceutical companies in the U.S. Over the next decade, Fleming, Florey, and Chain became extremely well known all over the world. In 1944, Fleming and Florey were knighted, and a mere year later, all three of them accepted the Nobel Prize for Medicine in front of a cheering crowd. Alexander Fleming's legacy lives on in all of us, and he will be remembered forever for the unintended miracle. Fleming once said, quote, "One often finds what one is not looking for," and he will live on today because of the potency of his find. Over half a century after the dream was completed, and penicillin began to cure millions of people a year, our continued health is evidence of the brilliance of Fleming's magnificent accident.